not from Valparaiso, we kicked you out. Goodman is out of here. But we've got two of my childhood heroes here today, so I'm honored to say we've got Homer and Bryce Drew. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Our pleasure. It's good to see you again.
Likewise. I have to say, I need to apologize to you guys because when I was in elementary school, my best friend lived like right down the street from you guys, and we would come over. I came over at least 9 or 10 times, and I'd ring the doorbell, and we would ask for Bryce's autograph. So I'm so sorry for doing that back then.
Hey, looking back, that was really a waste of time because those things aren't worth anything right now. So
I've got more Gatorade cups, pieces of paper, you name it. You have signed it for me. So. Coach, I'm sorry. You just can't get rid of me. We're on Zoom. You had to recruit me. I was a ball boy for you. I went to your camps. It's just I won't go away.
We wish we had you for a 4-year period in there, and that would have made it just complete. In fact, I think all those times, Robbie, that you were in the gym, I think you owe Valpo a check for all the times that we helped make you good and get those extra shots up.
Yeah, paying rent.
But no, we've been thrilled to be a part of your family at times and a part of you especially, and have been following your success for many, many years, and happy. Matt Painter, a wonderful coach and a good friend of ours as well, and we were thrilled that you had such a great career and pro career. So thank you for inviting us back to Valpo days.
There you go.
And Robbie, I will say thanks for letting me feel like a good recruiter because it was in my first year of coaching, and my dad says, "Hey, Valpo High has some really good players. Why don't you go down and check them out?" So, I go in the gym and get to see practice. It's just a practice that day, and he stayed after, and we're shooting and dunking and different things. And I go back to my dad, and I'm like, "Dad, I think he's going to be a pro one day." And my dad's like, "Well, he's only a sophomore in high school right now." I know. I go, "But Dad, he's like 6'7". He's playing point guard. He has great feet. He's dunking." I go, "I think he's going to be really, really good." So you were already good. I didn't take a great evaluator to realize that, but thank you. I got credit with my dad as a recruiter right away because fast forward, and obviously all of that stuff came true for you.
Man, I needed you to be my agent, Bryce, selling my game like that.
Hey, now I know I'm old, Robbie, but were we the first to offer a scholarship to you that sophomore year?
No, you were right after my sophomore year. And honestly, I was so hyped. I mean, I used to check the RPI. I would get on the internet and tie up the dial-up, and I'd get on cbssportsline.net, which was a website back then. And I would literally look at the RPI, and I could not understand why we'd win at like Southern Utah, or we'd win at like UMKC, and we'd go down. I didn't get the strength of schedule fact of like you had to like beat high ranked teams to go up. So I would sit there and I'd just be like dumbfounded by it. But I loved Valpo. I grew up and I was such a fan. I will say there was only one person that I cried on the phone when I told them I wasn't coming, and that was to you, Coach. So I was so sad. I wanted to come. I did, but Coach Payne did a good job recruiting me, and with Etwan and all those guys, it was a tough decision.
And Dad having his background there too, so
totally
that was as well too. But you were in tears, but also my youngest son and myself were joining you in tears as well. In fact, at one time, Robbie, we really thought that if you had come along with one of your teammates, and Scott Martin, and if we would have had Diebler come, who started as a freshman like you did at Ohio State. If the three of you would have come, we would have been the first to the Final Four, I really thought, with a chance to win it with the three of you. So that's how it flows.
John was a good player. Yeah, that would have been a good group. Bryce, I'm gonna start with you because I have a little brother, and I know how we sometimes would get into it. I got to ask about you and Scott. Was there ever a time you can remember where you guys like went to war?
Like never to blows, but like verbally and with actions. I'm kind of a diffuse guy. If things get escalated, I diffuse. And I will tell you one story. He's really really good. Older brothers are really good at playing mind games with little brothers.
Totally.
Kind of how you were checking the RPI. Yeah, you were checking the RPI and didn't understand. When you're a younger brother, you don't understand the mind games that are constantly going on. And and you just can't handle them at the time. And so we were in actually a ping pong tournament, and I was actually beating them in ping pong. Like we always split, went back and forth. And so I'm beating him, and he starts giving me this stuff that, mom and dad told me to let you win, so I'm going to let you win. I'm playing
what
easy.
A veteran move by Scott right here.
And I'd win the next point, and he'd be like, see, I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be. And another point, yeah, this is how they want it. They want you to get confidence. And so I just like quit the game. I like went to the guy and I said, hey, he won, game over. He's the champion. Because at the time I didn't understand the mind games he was playing with me. So, that was probably the one time that sticks out. And after that, obviously I got a lot mentally tougher at a young age for having an older brother that would constantly be doing that to you.
Dad, is that about accurate? They never came to blows?
No, pretty much. Dana, our daughter,
yeah,
and she was sandwiched in between Scott and Bryce. She was the feisty one, Rob, and we would play 2-on-2 in the backyard, and she would push and shove, and she was the one that you had to watch out for. She was the feisty, competitive one of them all, and Bryce was kind of the mediator between if Scott and Dana would have some no, wasn't foul, yes it was. He would kind of mediate between the two. But we had some really hellacious 2-on-2 in the backyard as they were growing up.
Yeah, you guys had a nice court. I remember when I was stalking you guys, I saw the backyard court was pretty good. Bryce, I hate to ask you this because I know that this probably isn't like your most pleasant memory, but you had an incredible high school basketball career, and you guys go 28-1. Do you ever think about the state championship game? Because you guys were up 10 minutes ago and you end up losing in overtime. Does that, you're so accomplished, player, coach, pro, everything. But does that game ever come back and do you think about it?
Oh, all the time.
I thought you would say that.
Around state championships, if you go to, sectional game, regional game, you always relive kind of your high school memories. And
totally.
It took a long time to watch the film. Like I had a hard time just watching like that fourth quarter.
Yep.
We dominated the game in a way. I feel like we still won the game.
Yeah,
because we
I'm with you.
Until the very last minute of the game. And then just that last play, was devastating. But, great memories. I think I take the positive from it because we played so good and we should have won the game. And I guess that's my memories of it, even though we fell a little bit short to, fellow, Purdue grad.
Yeah, Jerron Cornell. They were good. Lee Nalon.
He was incredible.
Jerron Cornell. Really good team. Really good. That was an amazing environment, though. You're talking about the RCA Dome with 40,000 people there. I've watched the game a few times. I actually had it on VHS in high school. Coach Punter gave it to me. And honestly, we played South Bend Clay. And so we'd go, and they've got life-size, cutouts of all these Lee Nalon, Jerron Cornell. And I'm like, why is Coach Punter torturing himself like this? We'd play him every year. I would never play South Bend Clay ever again if I was Coach Punter.
Yeah, I think the story was, and I haven't checked with him recently, but he never watched the film. I don't think he had
either.
I don't
blame him. It's definitely a rough one. Coach, I know recruiting can be hard, kind of regardless of whether you're recruiting a player or your son. What was it like to recruit Bryce out of high school?
Actually, Scott did most of the recruiting, I think. I was just, as a parent, you just want your son to go where he wants to go, where he'll fit in, where he's excited to go. So it was really Bryce's decision on where to go, where to take his visits. But just his older brother started to talk to him about, well, you'd be playing for Dad, you'd be helping Dad, you'd be helping me. And putting a little of that guilt trip on him and what we could do if you would come. So Scott was actually the lead recruiter in this. The only thing I do remember, Rob, that you'll enjoy this story is that I told Bryce that I would like to be the last coach to do a home visit. So we had like Rick Barnes in and Stanford came in and Syracuse. And so I got to listen to the coach's presentation to kind of help when I went in for home visits. So I said, Bryce, let me be the last home visit? So he said, yes. So he'd finished his visits, and so it was time for me to come. So I went out, snuck out the back door, came around, knocked on the front door, and I thought this was kind of ingenious, to go up and knock. And so I knock, and I said, I'm here to talk with Bryce, as Janet answered the phone. And she said, he's not at home, and then closed the door on me. So that's how my home visit started.
That's crazy.
Oh, it was
Wait,
funny.
was he was home though, right?
Oh, yes.
He was. Okay. So your wife, Mrs. Drew, was just pulling a fast one on you.
Getting back, because I made it go around the house and make it an official presentation.
Yes, I got you. I got you. Bryce, so who else was recruiting you? And was it hard with, I know your dad just said that he was going to let you make your own decision, but like, I remember when I was being recruited, I'd visit you guys and I was like, man, I want to commit to Valpo, or I'd visit NC State and have a good time. I want to commit to NC State. Like, and I was able to tell my dad, because he wasn't coaching anywhere. Could you feel the same way and do that with yours?
Definitely took visits, and just like you, had great times. My first visit was to LaSalle University. Okay. Speedy Morris, Joe Mahalik was their assistant coach.
Yeah.
And so I had a heart issue my junior year, and so a lot of schools all dropped off me, and they were the one school that like stayed with me through the whole heart procedures that I had. And so I ended up being in my final three because of the relationship I built. And again, I'm very committal to people. If they're committed to me, I'm committed to them. And they were in the whole time. So love the visits. I go on my visit, and the coach who recruited me, son was Jelly Bean Bryant, Kobe's dad.
Yeah.
And so I remember on my visit, I go in his office and we're talking, and I look on the wall and there's an article, of his son. Yeah. And I'm looking, and the other coaches come in and they're like, yeah, his son's really, really good. And I'm a senior in high school. I think Kobe was like a freshman or sophomore at the time. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm sure he's really good, sarcastically in your mind, thinking this freshman's really good. That freshman's up being, one of the best players to ever play.
Seriously.
But the process, just like you, I enjoyed the visits and all that. For me, it boiled down to I loved Valpo. Our high school team, like you said, went to the state championship. So we already had like a big fan base. We got over 5,000 like you guys did for high school games. And so we already had kind of a fan base there. Everyone was pretty energetic for basketball. My dad had just started to turn the program. They just had their first Division I winning record, the year before. And there was a really good class coming in. I wanted to play point guard. Some schools like Syracuse and others were recruiting me to be a 2.
And you could have been in the 2-3 zone, huh?
Yeah, I could have been a 2-3 zone, but I wanted the ball in my hands, man. I wanted to be able to make decisions and things like that. So it was a chance that I could go and play right away. Notre Dame was the other school that was really close, but they had 3 guards on their roster that were really good at the time.
Would that have been that was Digger Phelps, huh?
That was John McLeod.
John McLeod. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, after Digger. And then Stanford had Brevin Knight, who, had a plus 10-year NBA career. So for me, it boiled down to fit and where I could be a point guard and help to be a pro.
So, Coach, everybody knows about the Ole Miss game, but you guys have made the tournament the 2 years prior. You guys lose to Arizona, and they were loaded. Like Jet Terry, Miles Simon. You lose a close one the next year to Boston College. They had Scooney Penn, really close game. I remember listening to that on the bus. I was in second grade. I remember listening to the game on the bus. And what was the final score of the Boston College game? Was it 2, 3?
No, you remember, Bryce, at all? It was very.
Yeah, we lost
3.
We went up like 11-0. We led for the first 32 minutes of the game. Right. I remember. And then I think they won the Big East tournament championship that year. They gradually took the lead, and then ended up being like 6, I think. But first 32 minutes, we were in control.
So, Coach, how did those 2 games kind of prepare you guys for what happens in 1998?
Experience, because of having gone through the 3 tournaments together. And I think after we lost to Boston College, and like Bryce was saying, we led most of the game and felt like we had chances to win it, and then lost it, I think, by 3, but I'm not sure. You'll have to check that. So that summer, you could really see a difference. All the players, starting with Bryce and then Bill and Bob Jenkins, and they got into the weight room. They put extra time in shooting and into the gym, and you could see that they had a commitment, a purpose, a goal, and that goal was to win in the NCAA tournament. And so that summer set the good foundation for what we see in getting to the Sweet 16.
So, Bryce, in the Ole Miss game, you guys get like really good shots down the stretch. Like Zoran Viskovich gets a layup blocked by Ansu Cisse. I want to say Jamie Sykes has a three that he's wide open on with like 50 seconds to go. You get a wide open shot with 7 seconds, and none of them go. Like at any point or at that point, did you feel like maybe it just wasn't going to happen, or was there doubt? You know, you file Ansu Cisse as the SEC Player of the Year, and he's going to the line to shoot 2 free throws. I guess what are you thinking at that point in the game?
You know, I don't know if it was just, you know, naive time score at the time, but I really had a piece about the whole situation. Even when he was going to the line, when I missed that shot, we went and lined up. We had a play called cross. Guards were going to cross. We're going to throw it on the run to me, try to take a dribble, you know, get it up. And so I really had a piece about the whole situation. Then after that, Robbie, everything went so quick. Like they missed 1, then they missed 2. The ball gets tipped, goes out of bounds. We have no timeout. So Jamie and I think it was Jamie and Bob or Bill start yelling, you know, pacer, which is an audible to the play that we had called, because now there's less time and it's a dead ball, you know, out of bounds. So we get in that. And really from that time at half court until basically I was in the pile, everything was a blur. It just happened so quickly.
So, Coach, I want to ask you, because Cisse misses the first free throw and you call timeout. What was the huddle like, I guess? Were people calm? Bryce, I'm shocked that Bryce just said he was at peace, because end of the game, it's like, you know, that's winning time for sure.
We had practiced game-ending situations, so I think they knew exactly what we wanted to do. And so we reviewed if he made it, if he missed it. If we had time, we would set up in pacer. So we just went over the options, and they were very attentive. And, you know, it's not over. It's not over.
Right.
And so when he goes out and misses that second one, and then the ball goes out of bounds and there's timeout, what gave me great peace was they looked over and yelled pacer, and I just said yes. So my job was done. I mean, they knew what to do. You know, we had practiced pacer. It was up to them to execute. So I really felt very comfortable. And then when Jamie faked, and then the Ole Miss jumps up as he comes down, then Jamie throws. That's very key to get it over that guy and not get it deflected. And then you see Bill Jenkins jump up between the 2 6'7", 6'8" guys of Ole Miss, gets right between them and catches it and does that little touch pass over. All of a sudden, I got goosebumps. I'm like, this could really go. Because in practice, Robbie, we would do it at 5-on-0, and sometimes we couldn't even get through to the shot. You know, if we got through to the shot, Bryce may have missed it. So very few times did it work even 5-on-0 in practice. So what you saw was perfection that we didn't get all the time in practice. But the whole key to the play, Robbie, was that you knew that they were going to stop Bryce. And so when we lined up, Bryce was on, it would be toward me, the left side of the floor, and right side as you look down the floor. And he faked back. And this is when Jamie faked the pass to Bryce coming down the sideline toward Jamie. And the Ole Miss guy thinking, he comes out and he gets that arm out there like he's going to steal the ball. And then, of course, Jamie fakes it, and then Bryce takes off. On one of the classic plays on ESPN Classic, they show the Ole Miss, and the Ole Miss guy, he's here, he's smiling, and then he sees Bryce running, and you can see his face just change, like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that gave Bryce a couple steps. And then when Bill caught the ball and tipped it over, then the next eerie moment was I was right in line with the shot, and it looked like it was going to be short. And honest to goodness, this day, I think God or the prayers of that building just got it up, and it just grazed the front of the rim and went in. So you had all of that going on in that split second.
So just to be clear, if he had missed the free throw, it would have been cross, the play that's what you guys were going to run out of the timeout. And if it was a dead ball situation, it would be pacer.
Perfect. Yes. Cross is because we're rebounding the basketball.
Right.
Try to cross to get Bryce open and let him take it as far as he could go and shoot.
So, Bryce, I know you said that it's a blur. You don't remember any of that? Like you have no recollection of any of those things happening?
I remember the play call, and then I remember faking and going and again, I just remember it was like complete silence. I go up to shoot, and I don't remember any noise. I just remember anything. I just remember, again, I thought it was going to be short too. And, thank God that it lifted over. If you go slow motion, it actually like skims the front rim and slides in slow mo. But total blur. And the crazy thing is on the court, if you look at that Ole Miss team, like one is the athletic director at Ole Miss right now.
I knew that. I knew he was.
One is the head coach in Florida right now. I think one's head coach at Central Arkansas. I mean, they got a lot of guys that went on to have done great and are doing great in basketball. I always tease Mike White that if he'd been guarding me, I don't know if I'd have gotten it off, because a freshman was on me and Mike was a junior. He may have seen it coming.
A little more discipline than to bite on bite on the play fake there.
So thankfully, Mike was on the bench for that play.
I'm sure they love seeing you in recruiting when you're going around and, hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah,
I'm sure they love seeing you. So you dive on the floor. Do you remember that? Do you remember?
I don't. I saw it on TV. So to date myself, but you were dating yourself with the internet, is we go back to the Holiday Inn, because that's where they put us. And we were so excited that ESPN, because no Twitter, none of that then.
Sure.
We're so happy they're just showing highlights on ESPN of our game. And when it showed the final play, I had no idea kind of what I did. I just remember being on the ground and again, everybody on top of me.
Well, I have to say, I could tell you what I was holding, who I was standing next to. I luckily got to see it live, because I'm in third grade, and it was one of those deals where you took your third grade teacher taught you every subject except for one. So let's say it's math this year. So when we do math, we would go down the hallway and go to a different classroom, and a different teacher would teach us. And I'm trying to get this teacher to put the game on like the whole time. Like I asked at least 3 or 4 times. She'd like put it on and then turn it off. And I don't know why I don't know if she was afraid of trouble or what, but we get done with math class and we're walking down the hallway, and Cook's Corners Elementary School in Valpo is like a big L. And we had to walk down to like, I guess, the corner of that L, and there was a TV, and our principal's watching the game. So I'm like, Mr. Turner, what's the score? And he's like, no, we're down 2 with 2.5 seconds. So I like abandon the class with my boys, and we go and we're watching with him. And you make the shot. I'm holding this gray and black pencil box. I'm standing next to the dude that lives down the street from you guys, Jonathan Zimmerman. And I literally took my pencil box and chucked it in the air. I was so hyped. Like, you could not even imagine how excited I was that shot went in. It was incredible. It was really cool.
That's a great story. And I can visualize Cook's Corner and Zimmerman and all them. So
yeah, it was a good time for sure. A good day in the life in Valparaiso. What was the locker room like? Were you guys like, I mean, was it just pandemonium, or was it, I mean, the NCAA tournament's weird because you win and the coaches are already like, all right, who do we play next? But like, I guess for the players, what was it like?
I do the player perspective. We had 6 seniors on the team, and you kind of walk through, our 3 NCAA tournament appearances. And, the first one, again, not close. Second one, we thought we could have won. We were right there. So coming back, we had accomplished, a lot up to then, but we had never won a game in the tournament. And that was kind of the goal that all the seniors had. So I guess there was a lot of emotions. It was kind of like, obviously extreme excitement. There was also some fulfillment because we accomplished kind of one of the big things that we came back to want to do. And then there was also kind of just the relief, I think, that we did finally win a game.
Sure.
Not to make closure to it, but that was kind of the one thing that was unchecked on our boxes to advance in the NCAA tournament. So I think it really helped us go into the second round against Florida State because it took some pressure off us. Like we won the game. Like now let's just go out. We can just play totally free. Yep. And I really think that freedom really helped us in that second round game.
Coach Drew, what about for you? Was there any celebration, or was it like, all right, we got Florida State, they just upset TCU?
Boy, you named it just right. Coaches worry about the next game. And so after the excitement in the locker room, when we get back, all as coaches, we're now looking at Florida State and who is going to be our next opponent and what we can do and what adjustments that we needed to do. So we're right at work on that. And what is interesting, because of the great shot from the first victory, we kind of forget the second game, but Florida State, we won in overtime.
Sure.
And it was just as exciting a game. It just took us a little bit longer, 5 more minutes to win it. But it was an exciting game as well. And I guess the thing that really stands out most is when we came back from Oklahoma City back into Valparaiso, we were met by a police escort. And they're saying, we're going to escort you in. And I'm thinking, what do we need in that? We know how to get there.
All that Valpo traffic is tough, right?
Yeah. So we drive and we don't even get onto campus as we do drive onto campus. I forget the road there, but we looked up and you couldn't even drive. You couldn't even get a bicycle. The place was just packed with people and students. And as we drove around the corner to get there to the Arc, there were people in the trees, Rob, cheering and welcoming the team back. So that was really a special moment.
My mom took my brother because he wasn't in school yet. So I'm in 3rd grade. She didn't, and I guess she wasn't going to take me out of school to go back and meet the team. But I'll probably never forgive her for not taking me because I would have been fully invested in doing that. I remember the way also that CBS kind of portrayed Valpo was really interesting. Like they're showing like some beater car that like is driving down the one road, and like it was like, come on, like there's 30,000 people that live here.
And Robbie, we've lived there like, our whole life, in and out, but they were showing some places too that I've never seen.
The bingo hall. Like, where is that even at? It's like, come on. No, I'm totally with you. They made us look like we were kind of like, more maybe country than Valparaiso actually is.
We are a suburb of Chicago, basically.
Exactly. We're 55 minutes from one of the biggest cities in the country. Coach, I want to ask you, how do you watch your son make a shot like that and not like dive on top of the pile along? I mean, I know you have to be semi-professional and like go shake the other coach's hand, but like, I mean, I'm sure you wanted to. How do you not just go lose your mind?
I did find him and we had a big hug. And so that was very, very special.
Bryce, how would you say that shot changed your life?
From the outside, I mean, obviously people knew more of Valparaiso, of our team, of myself from making the shot, just being played on TV so much. But like personally, like nothing changed. I mean, it's a basketball game. I mean, that's what we do is we play basketball. And so it didn't really change from that perspective. For me, like yourself, you grow up wanting, March moments. You want to make the NCAA tournament, play in the NCAA tournament. And ever since I was young, I'd sneak out of my bed to try to watch the NCAA tournament. My dad would let me come down and watch some. And so it's always been, every time you go to the gym, you dream of making that shot. And so, to be able to do it and do it in the NCAA tournament, I guess for me, it was more just a personal, gratitude, a lot of, again, fulfillment, happiness, just all those works in the backyard, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, throwing up desperation shots, being able to have one, that happened actually on TV in the NCAA tournament.
Well, I can say I'm sure you guys practice pacer a bunch, but my 3rd grade AAU team started running it all the time after that. We practiced it maybe just as much as you guys.
Robbie, at least once a year, I guess for probably the last, maybe 15, 17 years, I'll always get some high school coach, college coach, elementary coach. He'll send me a tape. Thank you for the pacer play.
Nice. It works. It still works, huh?
Calling it the Valpo play. And so it's always nice, that shot touched a lot of lives as well. I can remember getting letters from Europe, from China, to Israel, to just, complimenting, saw the shot on TV, and had that shot touched even jobs. We had one of our law students go out to Denver and on Monday he had an interview, and of course he watched the game. And on Monday, the ones who were interviewing him saw the Valpo shot as well. He got the job on the spot. The guy was a big basketball fan.
Valpo was hot.
And he wrote me the nicest letter to thank Bryce for helping him get the job. So
that's awesome.
So a lot of people saw it and were touched.
How cool is it for both of you that, I mean, the NCAA tournament is such a big part of certainly all of the 3 of our lives because we work in this industry. But I mean, to have one of those moments is so special. I feel like when you think of the NCAA tournament, Bryce, your shot that's one of the best shots ever made. I mean, how cool is that for you?
Yeah, it's a huge blessing, Robbie. I think God blessed that ball again. I thought it was going to be short to go in, and hopefully, I can use it as a platform to, serve Him, glorify Him, and just spread joy of the game of basketball. I also think the father-son dynamic,
Totally.
a lot of people can, relate to, whether you coach your son in Little League or AAU, be able to share that bond together. And for me, I saw my dad coach his whole life. I saw my brother how hard he worked, and part of kind of the family business is you want your family to be successful. And I guess my part at that time was be as good as I could as a player to try to help win as many games as we could. So, it's definitely something I'll always take with me, and just extremely grateful for it.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Bryce, you become the head coach at Valpo. You follow in the footsteps of your dad, which is really, really cool. You do a great job. You get the Vanderbilt job. You go to the NCAA tournament the first year. And, Coach, I guess this question is more so for you. Like, how hard was it to watch kind of the Vandy thing happen with Bryce being successful there? Because this is your profession too. This is where you made all of your living and have been a coach for all these years. How hard was it for you to watch this happen to Bryce so really unfairly?
Unfairly, and a great question, and very difficult as the father to sit there and watch this unfold, because your son's an excellent coach and you can't control the environment around you. And it was really sad because David Williams, who was the athletic director that hired him, passed away. And
Right.
he was a really honest, high integrity, high character man. And so when he passed away, then things changed very quickly at Vanderbilt. So it was just very difficult for a father. I think I ate more than what Bryce did at times. But, Robbie, in our lifetime, and I thank God for letting me live long enough that you see why things happen. And it really is interesting to me as I look back, and this was God's plan and purpose all along for Bryce, because Grand Canyon University is a perfect fit for him. It has a strong faith background. It's a growing. They've only been a Division I, maybe 7 or 8 years. They've never been to the NCAA tournament. So a great opportunity for Bryce to build his own, legacy here. And the president, a guy by the name of Brian Mueller, is an old basketball coach. So
Nice.
He loves basketball. The school is already up over 20,000 students, and he wants to continue to grow it. And I'm anxious for you to come out and do a game out here, because they have a group of fans called the Havocs, and they make the game very enjoyable. And,
Sure.
and at Valpo, as you know, we played Duke, and we played Kentucky, and we played KU, and Duke. And so we've been in those real energetic arenas. And this one out here is even more so, because the students they're cheering, they're dancing, they're into it. It's an entertainment plus, but it's a great home court advantage. So you have a personal invitation to come out. We'd love to we'll get you and one of your colleagues to come out and do a game, but it's really exciting. So my point is that it was neat to see how God has gotten Bryce here, which is a wonderful opportunity.
Totally. And Bryce, I wanted to ask you, because Grand Canyon, I had him, that would have been 2 years ago at the Wooden Tradition, 3 years ago now. And it was over Thanksgiving break. It was one of those MTEs over Thanksgiving. And they bust up like 500 students. Like, the enthusiasm for basketball and it was sweet. Like, because you're in a gym at Cal State Fullerton. There's like 8 people there. Although Julia Louis-Dreyfus was there because Northwestern was playing. Her son was on the team. So there was some random stuff going on at this tournament. But, like, it made the tournament so much better. And I've seen games on TV, and, like, the atmosphere and the passion is so impressive. I guess what makes Grand Canyon unique, and just how cool of a place is it?
Yeah, in 2008, there were 1,000 students. Now they have over 20,000. They're projecting over 40,000, over 70,000 online. There's no football here, so basketball's, the big sport.
Sure.
And, again, our student section, again, I've been at Duke. I've seen Duke like we are the top
Absolutely.
2 in the country, as far as students. And so our game management is just phenomenal. What they do, similar to how they tailgate in the Midwest for football, they tailgate for basketball at GCU. Our Midnight Madness is phenomenal. One of the top 3 in the country. And so this is we consider a gold mine that hopefully is going to explode soon here. But we have great basketball minds. The president, again, used to coach basketball. Jerry Colangelo, who runs that sweatshirt that you're wearing right there. He's up at our practices. He's involved, helping us out and there for us, wants us to be successful. So there's a lot of pieces all in place here, to really get this thing going.
It's funny you said that about the tailgating. I remember when Herb Sendak left NC State and went to Arizona State, he called me and reoffered me a scholarship. He's like, Robbie, it's amazing. There's pool parties before the games. And he failed to mention that the students don't actually leave the pool parties and come to the games in Arizona State. So I was like, man, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, I need to come visit. But last question for you guys. And I know you've watched a ton of Baylor, obviously with Scott being the head coach there. I'm guessing you both have seen a good amount of Gonzaga. How does Baylor beat the Zags, and what do they need to do? I think if they meet, and hopefully they meet, in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's really tough for me because obviously Scott's the head coach at Baylor, and then Roger Powell, who was my associate head coach for years, is assistant at Gonzaga right now. And then you throw Jake Diebler, Ohio State's number 4 in the country. He played for my dad and then was assistant. So we got 3 legit family members basically that really realistically could be in the Final Four this year.
Sure.
I've seen them both play. And my dad has probably seen more of them because I got a lot of our film watching and things like that. But
you're a little bit busy over there.
Yeah, I think I think Kispert and Timmy. I think the guards, both teams have really good guards. But the Kispert Timmy, how does that matchup go defensively, offensively? Does Kispert get off and make a bunch of threes, or does Baylor, does Vital and their switching defenses get to keep them under control? Is Timmy going to wheel and deal in the post, or can everyday John keep them from doing what he does to everyone else in the post? So for me, it's going to boil down to kind of those 2 matchups, how those go. But man, I'd love to see a best of 3 and maybe just fast forward some of the tournament up and get to those 2 guys and make sure they get to play each other. Seriously. And get to a best out of 3. I think that'd be phenomenal watching.
I'll add something. Robbie, you started with Valpo. And so congratulations to Valparaiso University and Matt Loddick as they upset Drake, who was the last or the 3rd undefeated team. So now they're down to 2, Gonzaga and Baylor. And so that would be awesome if they would meet for the championship game in Indianapolis. So that would be an exciting moment. Also, as Jeff watches your podcast here, Jeff, I hope you pay him double since he had to take in your part as well as his own part. But Jeff, you got a good man here. So congratulations, Jeff. Talk to you in the future, hopefully sometime.
Definitely. I appreciate you guys coming on. I will say before we finish up with Scott, whenever I do a Baylor game, I tell him, I say, why didn't you recruit me? And he always says, man, my dad wouldn't let me. But thank you guys for coming on here. It was awesome reliving what happened back in '98 and talking some Valpo hoops. And I think the world of both you guys. So I appreciate you coming on here and being a part of the Goodman, who's not here, and Hummel podcast.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, guys.